No one can know how long Russia prepared its military attack against Ukraine, but one knows for sure the minds of Russian people have been brainwashed for years. In this episode of 1 Week of Russian Propaganda, I will tell you about the alleged rationale for the war. I will tell you why. Do you wonder why so many Russians genuinely support ongoing Russian invasion of Ukraine? Part of their war propaganda is that Ukraine has little to do with the war, and it was the West that started Russian war against Ukraine to demolish Russian values once and for all.
If this is a special operation, then it is Great Patriotic Special Operation, or you can call it World War III otherwise. The whole Western world is against Russia, and this is really a war for survival. It's either them or us. Ukrainians have obviously nothing to do with it for a long time now. It's just that this territory was chosen as the clash place. Ukrainians are just victims, a side effect. Strikes by American weapons on Russian territory were planned long before the start of special operation. Americans withdrew from the treaty on medium and short-range missiles, and they knew back then that they would supply weapons to Ukraine that would hit peaceful cities on Russian territory. The cities of Russia are the goal pursued by Americans. The Brits constantly call for fights. The Anglo-Saxons, the Americans, they're obviously looking for their place in the New World, and they want to keep their colonial rent that they formed after World War II.
This is a typical trick of Russian propaganda. They often relate to World War II in their messaging to trigger a feeling of pride among Russians, and believe their actions today are not in vain. Notion of war against a neighboring country where Russia plays an aggressor role must be difficult to put in minds of Russians. Although the US is an evil aggressor, Russian propaganda suggests it's not going so well this time.
American perception of war is changing. They're used to the experience that if the United States invades somewhere, it inevitably leads to good economic results for the Americans. Saddam Hussein was overthrown and the mortgage boom began. People started buying more real estate. The US bombed Yugoslavia. Jobs were preserved and everything was fine. That looks like some kind of a wrong war to them. They seem to be having a war against Russia, but for some reason the economic outcomes of these actions are all bad. It's a brand new situation for them.
No mortgage boom or employment gains this time. Sad. Which other messages can be useful in propaganda to unite as many Russians watching it? Religious rationale is always one. 30 years ago, only 20% of Russians were religious. Today, this level is around 70%.
Guys, I will tell you why I consider this war sacred and why I think that we will definitely win this war. I studied the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, everything that can be studied. I know that we would have a war with the army of the devil, of Antichrist. When people ask me why I think that we will be exactly the army that will oppose this army of Antichrist, many were surprised when I said that the Ahmad Special Forces are the troops of Jesus, because we are waiting for the return of Jesus more than anyone else. Today, the army of Jesus is not only Ahmad, but also all those forces and units that are today on Russian side. We're at war with those troops that impose on us everything that is unpleasant to God, everything that is unnatural to humans, because human was originally born in order for men to marry women so that they give birth to children. In fact, democracy of America, the main enemy of humanity, and Europe, a henchman of NATO, carries everything that is satanic and is precisely the army of Antichrist. Today we're confronting this exact army. They are the ones who don't have gas. It's called for them in this world. Those people who say that they're called today, those people who follow European values, God will warn them on the judgment day in hell, as long as they do not come to us and say where their place is in this world. They will starve and freeze like this. However, not because we're evil or Russia is evil, but instead because they have moved away from God. Putin refused to accept European values, in fact, satanic values that are imposed on the whole world. I'm grateful that this country is following the path of God, as we're not under the LGBT flags. I know that as long as he's alive, we will not be under those flags.
As you can see, LGBT is another supposedly uniting topic in Russian propaganda. Although even they struggle to tie it to war directly, the message is that NATO and the West are taken over by evil LGBT people who destroy Russian values.
NATO Secretary General Stoltenberg wanted to have a break. He preferred to do it with gays and lesbians. Well, for me as a person, for all of us, if a dude believes he's a Napoleon, he's sent to a madhouse. If a dude believes he's a lady, then for some reason he's normal, but not very normal. Imagine this bunch of crazy people there. They now rule the world. They're also aggressive and have seized power, and they impose their madness on everyone else, on all of us. Hold on, why is there no death penalty for LGBT?
Russian propaganda wouldn't also miss the opportunity to mention equality in sexes and races as one of other evil Western values. This time the victim was Liz Truss.
You know Liz Truss and her education? She herself admitted that she studied sexism and racism more than to read and to write. It actually explains a lot.
Yeah, Oxford University is clearly inferior education. Perhaps Mr. Kornilov, previously car mechanic, can recommend a better education to Miss Truss. Sorry, Liz Truss, that's not it just yet.
Cook at the head of state is terrible, but an English cook at the head of Great Britain is twice as terrible.
Can you guys guess what happens if Russian propaganda finds a target where they combine their sexism, racism, and LGBT views all at once? Introducing Karine Jean-Pierre. The only point they had to make about her is that she's
Black lesbian.
Of course. Russian propaganda frequently explains all those values cherished by the West by pure stupidity. Lack of brain power is usually explained by wrong information consumption priorities, at least completely different from Russian ones.
Can you even imagine that the most watched TV show in the US is America's Got Talent? Thursday's repeat came in second. Some CD newscast barely took 5th place.
Russian propagandists should definitely try their fortune at AGT.
You know what? I just had this feeling when you walked out. I can't explain it. I think you're really special. I've just got this really incredible feeling about you.
Sorry, I've got to do this.
And that is it for today's episode. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is Simon Cowell going to give Russian propagandists his golden buzzer? Who do you think they make their biggest enemy in this war? Rich Anglo-Saxons, Antichrist, LGBT, NATO, or just stupid West? Thank you for watching and see you next time.